And the Atlantic Council recently said that only Ukraine can teach NATO how to fight off swarms of Russian drones. Do you agree with that view?
Well, I think Ukraine has a huge amount to teach the rest of the world. I think the further you get from Ukraine, you need to make sure you're looking at the relevance, because some of the things Ukraine is able to do just won't be possible in the Pacific. But if you're an Eastern European country or a Central European countries, Ukraine's lessons are extraordinarily relevant. They're timely. And I think that, military commanders throughout Europe need to be very humble to listen to Ukrainian commanders about some of the solutions they've come up with.
We have the ironic joke in Ukraine. You definitely know it, that it's not Ukraine who have to be a member of NATO, but it's NATO who have to be a member of Ukraine.
Well, I love the Ukrainian sense of humour. It's one of the reasons I keep coming back, and it's hard not to have those kind of sentiments. I mean, Ukraine has built the most capable military force on the European continent. It's shown that the Russian military was not the second most powerful army in the world. It's not even the second most powerful army in its own region. So, I think Ukraine has learnt a lot. It has got a lot to share. And I think it's built the kind of military that will act as a very powerful deterrent once this war is over.
And General Ryan, do you think that drone incursion into Poland actually could become a turning point, pushing NATO towards a no-fly zone over Ukraine?
Well, I'd love to think that's the case, but we haven't seen any real moves in that direction at the moment. I think you'll see the Poles and probably the Baltic nations step up their defences. The Poles in particular have announced procurement of additional counter-drone platforms. So I think you'll see more air defence over Eastern Europe. I don't see any significant shift in NATO policy or US policy about no-fly zones, because at this point in time, European countries and the US administration don't want to put themselves in a position where they might have to shoot down Russian aircraft and kill Russians.
Well, that's a good point. But at the same time, General Ryan, when the US has confirmed that under new NATO funding mechanism, Ukraine will soon receive weapons directly from American stockpiles, with allies paying for them. Yeah, that's true, but it's over 30 countries that are in NATO members who are now buying US weapons for Ukraine. So doesn't it mean that all the NATO countries they are already in this fight with Russia on Ukrainian territory, and they're still so afraid with this, as you said, hitting them with their weapon? But it's going on already. It's happening.
Well, the terrible irony, of course, is that Putin and other members of his administration have been reinforcing, even in the past week, that Russia is at war with NATO, whereas NATO, since the beginning of the war, has put up its hand and says, no, we're not at war with you. The reality is Russia's been at war with the West for many years. We've refused to acknowledge that. Russia's been conducting the largest scale subversion and sabotage campaign throughout Europe that we've seen since the Second World War. It's hard to see anything short than a direct attack by Russia on a European capital moving them at this point in time.
Well, with all of this fear of Eastern European countries that Russia will attack them, do you think it's quite possible, considering the financial situation there?
Well, Russia's in pretty dire straits economically. Europe is a very large, wealthy entity, far more wealthy than Russia. Indeed, its military forces are far more larger and more capable than Russia. But for some reason, in the West, not just in Europe, but in other countries like NATO, we've lost confidence in our own ability to push back on authoritarian aggression, to push back on their subversion and hybrid warfare that's happened in the Pacific as it's happened in Europe. We need to get back that confidence that we're defending democracies that are worth defending, just as Ukraine is defending a system, a culture, a democracy, a system that's worth defending. We've lost that in the West. Ukraine has kind of shown us the way back to that, but we're not back there yet.
At the same time, Poland's president, Karol Nawrocki, he says he hopes to host French nuclear weapons. Do you see this as a serious step or more as a political message to scare Russia?
Well, different NATO countries that haven't developed nuclear weapons have hosted US nuclear weapons under the NATO nuclear sharing program. About 6 different countries have done that. I would see this as an adjunct to that NATO program directly between Poland and France. Now, just because Poland is willing to do it, we're not clear whether the French are willing to actually share their nuclear weapons with Poland. But it's a very interesting development to see nuclear weapons hosted further forward and closer to Russia than what we've seen for a while.
But technically speaking, is it even possible to station nuclear weapons in Poland in the near terms?
Well, if Poland and France think it is, it probably is. I mean, it's just a matter of ensuring we know which aircraft they're going to be mounted on. Are the aircraft fitted for dropping nuclear weapons? You know, we're probably not talking about big missiles. We're talking about nuclear bombs that would be dropped from Polish aircraft. It's not clear yet whether Poland has the aircraft that have all the mechanisms and the safety procedures to be able to carry those weapons.
Could we station that weapon in Ukraine? Is that ever possible?
Well, I mean, anything's possible if you can imagine it, but I imagine that would deeply upset Putin even more than he already is, and might push him further towards the use of a tactical nuclear weapon against Ukraine. You know, I think everything's possible as a deterrent in the future, but at this point of the war, stationing a nuclear weapon on Ukraine probably isn't the way that President Zelensky and his strategic advisors are thinking.